Hi, hello, and welcome back to 7 Days to Die in Alpha 20. My name is Alex, and I'm engineering the apocalypse. So today it's not gonna be a gameplay video, it's gonna be some actual engineering. So I've built this small space here, like to have a stable base. And today I'll be testing out whether zombies will actually path or not path. So give me some time to set things up, and then I'll be right back with you. So I turned back the time so we have actual daylight. Now I've built two of these, say, very basic layouts that do look kind of similar to a regular base. So what I would like to know, basically, base building in 7 Days to Die. There's a weird glitch there. Oh no, this is just a shadow or something. Yeah. Anyhow, base building in 7 Days to Die most often comes down to saying building an elevated spot somehow, because that will make pathing of the zombies much more controllable. You can watch, for example, Chavoodle's videos on this. He's like really good at base designing, and it's one of the basic principles. Get yourself off the ground, everything will be easier then. And pathing will be so much... What the hell are you? Why are you a businessman? Anyhow, pathing will be so much more controllable. Now, as for pathing, my question that I want to answer in this video is, which types of blocks will zombies actually use when pathing? Because there's so many new blocks that I'm honestly not even remotely sure which blocks they are going to be using. So this is a pole, side centered. Let's do it quite... I mean, this is like very basic. I will assume, because I've also already seen it working. I've got mode on, sorry. This is obvious, I'm testing things out, so I definitely am using God mode. And yet now, just let me get the right key for spawning something in. Let's spawn some Arlenes in and let's get them activated. So as you can see, as soon as they notice me, pathing works very well. So we'll keep that as a reference in case something goes awfully weird. And let's try some other blocks in comparison to them. Now that was quite obvious, this worked. Now this is a pillar 0.025 and side centered. So this is some really thin stuff. Let's see if the zombies. This is just a short one. Okay, but that's still interesting because they kind of count as full blocks, as you can see, because I can place them like so, adjacent to one another. But if I turn fly mode off, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna be able to go out here, but I'm not falling in between those. So as I said, let's go back, spawn in some Arlenes, and we'll see what happens. So Arlene Pharaoh. Coming towards me and not falling down. So this is... So oh fuck. I should be shooting this from the side, otherwise I will create all sorts of issues. Right, I created all sorts of issues. Let's be honest here. This okay. Okay. Let's go and see what other shapes we can have. Let's take poles. This is a pillar, this in the middle, it's centered. I would like to have a side-centered pillar. There's only half side-centered. Well, that's kind of weird. Let's see, pillar. Which pillar types? That this one should be fine. So I think this is gonna be just the same like the one we had before, but let's simply make sure here. What I'm going for here is obviously the question I would like to have answered is how hard can we make it for our zombie friends to get to us? And also, will they push each other off? But this is working nicely. No problem there. She somehow didn't get the memo, so she went ham on the actual structure. Happens. Not ideal during Horde Night, but that's what we'll find. Now, it goes without saying that if you have like some wall here, let's do this once again. Maybe that was a bit. Say it was a bit too early to destroy the structure. Let's make this point a bit more clear here. So if you have your fighting position over there, you're obviously going to say, let's just take the same pillar, because that should be doable, and stack them on top of each other. This is not very statically sound, but it's gonna be okay for the most part. And now what you have here is some kind of a fighting position, because this is 2 blocks high, they won't be able to get over this easily. And there she was, so let's kill him off. Kill them off and put another, say, block on top of that. Let's go into fly mode, make ourselves the job a bit easier, like so. I don't know if they can squeeze through, that's a topic for another video actually, but now that the question is really, will they part? Up to now they did. And as I've been saying, the total idea of this is you have your fighting position here, they will attack that, and sooner or later every one of them will fall off. They might then proceed to attack the basic structure, but that's usually not a big deal. And the smaller this support here is, these are quite stubborn ones, but they will fall off. As I said, no big deal, but it's helpful to have such a small structure so that this works. It's actually pretty cheap, and they will basically run back after that. Now, let's look for another shape that I wanted to test out. So this other shade is gotta give me a second there. I think it's the dynamic grade. I would like the centered one. Right. This has a bit more meat to it. So let's stand here again. Spawn in some Arlenes. And I'm using the feral ones for these tests. That works too, pretty nicely, and it does what it should. So they try to hit me through there. Some of them will then go and hit the base structure, go into rage mode. That's kind of fine, but it does what it should. You have your base here, and you can basically fight from this position on outward. Okay. Nice. That works as advertised, or as I would like it to work. Now my question is, coming from these, can we do something cheesy here? Like, for example, now go to a security gate plate, rotate this on face, and do it like so. Now the idea here would be that this basically takes up this whole block here. You can see that I cannot place something in between, right? So the idea is, or the question is, will they accept that as a pathing, and will they simply fall through the actual hole that in reality is there? So in this case, we're looking for possibilities for cheesing the zombies. And the answer to that is actually no. They do not see that as a viable path. So that is completely out of the question, because we have turned this relatively nice base here into a tower base that actually does not work. Right. Good to know. Let's try it like this though. Will they accept this as pathing, as pathable? I know there's probably some hotkey how you can turn fly mode on, but I'm somebody who has hitting the wrong keys here, left, right and center. I'm somebody who does not regularly use creative mode or dark mode. Again, they are confused, and this does not work. Right. Stop moving already. I'll kill them off. So again, this is not seen as a viable way to get up to me. I thought they might see this as a viable way, but they simply don't. Okay, now what if we do something, say, differently weird with this shape? So this is a diagonal center, and let's do a complicated rotation here. Or let's put it like this, for example, for starters. Put ourselves up here again, get fly mode off. No, that does not work. Spawn the Arlenes over here. That works pretty nicely. Aggressive. Now that apparently does work. It does not help a lot, but at least it does work. Now again, if they go out of rage mode, we can wait for that for a second. When they go out of rage mode, they will start pathing again. See? That actually works. So if this works, I'm wondering whether something like this will work. We'll get a bit more creative here in a second. Let's just do the zigzag first. Like so. Get back into fly mode. Fly on top of here. Exit fly mode. Get the Arlenes in. And that seems to be no problem at all. They just run straight over it. Okay. That's fine. Let's do something a bit more sinister here. Let's copy this rotation. And do it like this. You could see that I could easily place the blocks, because that apparently is considered a full block in 7 Days to Die. So from a stability point of view, there was absolutely no problem here. For the pathing and what that does. Again, pathing works. Trying to get through. But honestly, they have little to no issue actually getting through. That's fine. Now, go to something different here with these. I'm doing it with these particular blocks. You could probably let's say, likely be using any of these blocks. Because or any of the blocks I have used so far. That's what I wanted to say, any of the blocks I've used so far. Because the basic pathing seems to be quite similar. I can of course test this out, but in general I would assume this to work similar no matter what blocks we're using. We're now using these particular blocks because I think they're quite instructive, or at least I can very easily see where I actually have placed them. So nowadays they have become more intelligent. They do not accept this as a pathway anymore. Right. So in earlier alphas they kinda did accept something like this. They do not accept this like at all. That's fine. Nah, I don't have to spawn anything in. So these these possibilities to cheese them, they simply don't work. Now, what if we take something like this, go to complex rotation, and make something like a chute here, like a combination between that and then the pillar. Poles. They were. Let's take the pole. Take side-centered poles. Like so. Let's see if that does something. I don't think it will. Let's just see what it does. So pathing works, they accept that as a means to get up to me, and it's not particularly effective. They can stand up there very well, so they don't fall back to anywhere. Now, what if we used something here that is like, get this out of here, is like something like a very small and very steep wedge, maybe. The wedge 60 tip that has been quite useful in earlier alphas, I think. Use something like this. Let's see whether that will get them to fall off. Pathing works. But they can stand there quite stable manner. So that's not really helpful. But let's keep trying this. I mean, I'm in God mode and I'm thirsty, so I should probably be spawning in some drinks, right? Where are they? Guys, I don't even know. Red. Not here, probably here. Okay. Just to have the status effect gone. As you can see, I'm absolutely not familiar with creative or God mode, so because usually I just like to play and try things out while playing. So pathing is still alright. They see this as a viable path, and they kind of fall off or slide off. So they're not happy with the situation. I think that is obvious, but apparently some are more intelligent than the others, which is weird because they should all behave the same. Right, now what if we took a wedge tip, but one of the smaller ones. This is left, this is right. Let's try it out then. Does on-face work here? Kinda does. So I'm currently resisting my urge to look into the loot bags, I'm not gonna lie. Doesn't make any sense, but it's loot bags. You see, that totally doesn't work. So the fun pimps apparently made a few adaptations to the AI that they will not accept this like as a viable path. Interesting. Now let's see what else we can do with the new blocks and new shapes. This is a corner tip. I don't think this is gonna be very effective. We could try it out though. What's with the plate ramp? This seems to be more or less the thinnest or a thinner version of the wedge tip, basically. So again, wedge tip is possible. This is like absolutely not. Okay, fair enough. That would have been interesting. Now let's do something else though with these. I will now basically enlarge this base, the base of this here. Two should be statically stable. Let's get these very thin plate ramps, not wedge tips. I'm saying wedge tips because they kind of look like wedge tips to me, but they are not. And let's get let's put them like so. And so. And for let's put the rotation back on, not on this side. You know, I don't want them to walk on the actual edges. That's too far out actually. So is this. So the idea now is, if I'm running up these stairs here, probably going to place one block here and then copy rotation, place one more here. Just checking. So this is walkable, right? It's just a very narrow edge to stand up here. And I can't get around the corner, at least I can't, maybe they can. Let's see about this. And what's the idea to this? The smaller the bridge the smaller the bridge is, the zombies need to take, the easier it is for you to basically knock him off this bridge. Let's try this. No, although it is walkable, this is not a valid path. Right. Are you still? Okay. This is surprising. I would have thought this to be a valid path. It is absolutely not. Let's knock out these things here to see whether this being in the way is the actual reason for them not to pressing the wrong buttons here. I'm sorry. And it absolutely isn't. And this is a totally valid path, and they're just not taking it. That's all I can say about this. Could you shut up? I'm trying to talk here. Okay, so while this is a totally valid path, they're just not taking it. So, as far as the experiments go, this has not been super effective. At least we haven't found an easy way to cheese them. We of course have found some, I would say, methods to make life harder for them, but yeah, they've done a pretty damn good job with the AI in this alpha, so that they are not like easily fooled. Let's try something else then, because in principle these blocks have been pathable. I think have we shown this? I don't know. Let's do something completely weird here. Again, I'll be standing up here without any protection, just to make sure that it's not a protection that actually keeps them from coming up here. Again, this is fully walkable, right? And if I'm here, they notice. Sooner or later, Marines are not the most intelligent zombies. But, no, I'm joking, they're all equally non-intelligent. But as I said, I can walk this. So, if anything, we've found a way to actually have a path ourselves, but avoid the zombies from pathing there. So this is also basically, if you want to have an access to your base that the zombies won't take, that's a method right there. But let's keep trying. I kinda like these ramps. Again, now let's put them down the way they should provide a plausible pathing. Let's put it like so. No, still not. These are basically not. These are basically unusable for any proper pathing. Again, if you want this as a base access yourself, you're fine. Apparently zombies won't take that access. Okay, let's have the wedge tip. No, it doesn't work like that. Let's a 60-degree bugger. There's just way too many blocks, I'm not gonna lie. Wedge narrow tip. Okay. Again, just making sure I'm not. I think I did test that. Let's just make sure this is actually working, because this has been working. Get off of here. And that kinda works, and yet doesn't work at all. I'm confused. Because this used to be working. At least I think. Again, pathing impossible. This, okay, this was a narrow tip. Let's go to the wedge 60 tip. So I think the narrow tip was not included in the last alpha, not necessarily. This one was. At least I think it was. Let's keep doing this. It's interesting because right now I'm. Oh, this is doable. Okay. So anyhow, this is doable. Let's take the same blocks. But rotate them. Like so. This used to be an issue in earlier alphas that you could use for a G-space. Because the zombies would path along the tips but would slide off. They fixed that in Alpha 19. So it seems to be a valid path. And I have no problem at all running this. Okay, this is still the same. It's interesting. Those 60 tips behave completely different. I would like to say from the narrow tips or from the plate ramps. That's interesting. Now these things here, you used to be able to kind of cheese them with these. Not like this, but let's try it out. Yeah, you can kind of make that. Okay, so this is a valid path. So the more intelligent ones, sometimes they seem to simply run over it, some will jump. And eventually some will get to it. But you can delay the horde a bit. Interesting. So this is still kinda doable. Let's do this with corner centered ones, or corner tips. This is side centered, this is corner. And do the weird stuff where you basically set them apart as far as you can. So stability wise, this is still accepted by 7 Days to Die as as statically okay. But let's see if it's a valid pathing. And apparently it still is. Okay. And now they're basically not getting through. You can build this much wider basically than I did. These 2 blocks more should be statically okay. So this is definitely a potential method to more or less. There will be some coming through, I assume, because of stacking and stuff, but in general this seems to be working as a cheese base. Okay, probably not 100% cheese, but like an 80% cheese. So not full camembert, some Gouda probably. Anyhow, this is gonna be the testing for tonight. I'll probably return to this testing field with some more shapes and blocks, just to see what can be done and what cannot be done. Thanks for watching, consider following the channel, and I'll be seeing you around. Bye.